There you go. So you're going to introduce me, or do I
Well,
just
you could actually
introduce
kind
myself? I'll do it. Okay, hi. So I am Penelope Silver, and I think I was in Cohort 2, so quite a while ago now. And I've done marketing and stuff like all my life. I've been in sales, I've done all different things, and I used to be really, really embarrassed about my CV because I'd chopped and changed my whole life. But what I've actually found is that I'm going to talk to you today from a little bit of a different slant, because I know that when you come into Basecamp Skills, it's more to get you an employed position, but that isn't the route that I've taken. I've actually built my own business after coming on the course. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. And all the skills that I've learned have actually helped me to be able to go forward and build a business quite quickly, because I've been able to utilize all those skills. So back in October 2023, I was working. I had my own business doing, I'm a Reiki master, so I was doing that at the time, but it was quite slow after we'd come out of lockdown. So I was also a part-time PA. And one day, the guy that I was working for, he just said, "Oh, I'm shutting up shop. That's it. That I'm just closing the doors." So I lost my job overnight, and I was like, "Oh my God, what do I do?" And around that time, a girl that I was at school with called Rachel McDonald posted on her Facebook page and said, "We've got this new course that I'm doing, and that I'm part of. I'm the managing director of it. And does anybody want 12 weeks free training?" And I was like, wow, that's like really good timing, actually. I feel like I could do with upskilling, because I hadn't really done a lot. You do the same thing in and out, day in, day out, and you kind of get a bit stuck on a plateau. So anyway, I spoke to Phoebe, and Phoebe was like, yeah, I went through the whole process that you guys have been through and got on the course. And yeah, it was amazing. There was some stuff that I already knew, but it taught me so much more stuff. And the week that I liked the most was coding and AI. So I started learning coding. And in the week we did coding and AI, it was the week that ChatGPT had been launched. It was the actual day. So everybody was like, this is going to be massive, but we don't really know a lot about it, that kind of thing. And I basically fell down the AI rabbit hole. So I was, I as soon as ChatGPT Pro came out, I signed up to that. So I was one of the early adopters. So when all the new things get brought out and tested, I'm one of those people that gets those features, which is pretty cool. And then whilst I was on the course, one of the things that I realized was that I don't like working for people, if I'm honest. I've got ADHD. I'm a bit of a free spirit. I like to have my own diary, and I'm a single mum with 2 kids. So I need to be able to just kind of run my life how I want it to, really, rather than having to break my neck trying to get into town to get to a job for 9 o'clock in the morning while doing 2 school runs and one thing or the other. That at my age, I'm 48 now, just doesn't appeal to me. So started my business, and there was a guy called Matt Stokes who was running the course at the time, and he helped me come up with the name Elevate. And so I bought the domain, started my business, and then if I just share with you, I can show you what I did. Oh no, that I don't want to show you that bit yet. So oh, don't know why it's done that. So this is the website that I built. So I used the skills that I had learned on the course to build this website. Let me just move this and then I can. So this was the first one I built. It's a bit, there's too much text and it tells you everything that I do, and that kind of thing. So it's worked quite well for me. And then I've added bits in So I then started really focusing on social media management. So I got a lot of clients doing this. So what I did with my business was I decided to do the things that I really, really enjoyed rather than doing the things I didn't enjoy. And that's the beauty of being able to do your own business. And then it kind of led on to the AI as well. So I've just got a few notes here because I was trying to work out the timeline of everything. And it was a little bit messy. So I've just, bear with me. I'm just reading off my notes off my phone. So yeah, I've said I didn't want to work for anybody. I wanted to work for myself. And then I built this website and I built this one as well. So this was my Reiki one because at the time I was still doing Reiki. I was trying to do everything. So this one was really good and it's got a shop on it. The thing that I like with these is that I do all my email marketing from here. I do all my invoicing. So anything that you can think that you need to do on the website, I've kind of brought it all into one place. So then it was Christmas and I was on the treadmill at the gym and because like my brain goes like this, I can't just do one thing at a time. So I thought, right, what can I do? So I'm on the treadmill and I thought I'm going to go onto LinkedIn and I'm just going to chat to a few people and see what they're up to if they had a good Christmas or whatever. So I'm chatting to this one guy who I'd met at a networking event in the November and he was saying, oh, what have you been up to? And I said, I'm on this base camp skills course and it's really, really good. And I was learning about AI and I've got into Chat GPT and I've realized that I can spot a Chat GPT post a mile off now on social media. They all look the same. They all have the same format and it's really, really lazy. Well, sorry, that's what I thought anyway, that it all seemed really lazy. People, you could tell people had just copied and pasted a prompt. So I said, what I've started doing is learning how to prompt. So I'd got really, really into prompt engineering. And as I was doing this, what I was learning, I was just dumping the information onto an Excel spreadsheet, basically. And so he said, oh, right. Now this guy owns a tech company. Okay. And he said to me, I want you to come in and teach my management team about AI. So I was like, what? I was like, no, 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 I don't like do this for a living. I was like, this is just something that I'm really, really interested about. And he goes, yeah, I know. And I was like, why don't you know about AI? And he said, because we're so busy in the business doing our work, we haven't had time to look at it. We know it's new, we know it's up and coming, and we know we need to know about it, but we just haven't had the time to explore it. So off I go. And I go and I sat for an hour and I did this presentation, and it was literally my notes on an Excel spreadsheet. It wasn't pretty, it looked awful. And I taught them about different ways of prompting. Because that in the beginning, that was pretty much it. There wasn't in the pro version. Can I just ask, this week, have they been taught about that already? Do they know all that?
Yes,
About, yeah.
it's AI and Social Week this week.
Oh, right. Okay. So like within the pro version, you can build your own GPTs and things like that. There was none of that in the beginning. So it was basically, what did I teach? I taught the history of AI, like where I thought it was going, ethics, that kind of thing. And then the prompting was the main thing. And off the back of that, he said, right, I want you to come and spend a day with my marketing team. And I want you to show them how they can use AI in their in the daily lives to sort of make them more productive. And then it was go and sit with customer services and then go and sit with HR. So off this, like one little conversation I'd had in LinkedIn Messenger, I had this like all this work. And I still couldn't get my head around why he wanted me to go. But anyway, I'd done it. And they seemed really pleased with what I had presented to them. So then February 23, graduated from Basecamp Skills. And then in the March, I put a post on my personal Facebook page, and it said, I've just graduated from this digital marketing diploma and I'm looking for my first clients. This is what I offer. If you're interested, send me a message. So I got two people, well, there was a few people contact me, but I got two clients off that one post. Um, and one of them I did virtual assistant services for. So like everything, it was like she wanted me to manage her accounts, do her social media, help her run a day-to-day life, that kind of thing, which was actually, it was quite a lot of work. And then the other one was a lady who was setting up a marketing company and she wanted me to work for her as her freelancer. So she is now, I have 7 clients that I look after on a monthly basis for her. So for them, I do all their email marketing, I manage all their WordPress sites. I hate WordPress, but I still do it. I look after all their social media. I do all the blogs, email newsletters, do all their graphic design, that kind of thing. And I've started to use a lot of AI in the design. So I wanted to show you this because this is one I'm quite proud of that I did recently. So this was it's a basically, I look after a lot of retail parks in the Northwest, and this was a wellness event that they'd put on. So I used the AI to create the background image and then did the rest in Canva. So it still like shocks me because I think before I came on Basecamp Skills, there's not a prayer I would have ever done that or thought that someone would pay me to make a graphic for them. So yeah, so that was really good. And then in the March, I was asked through Basecamp Skills, but also Greater Manchester Combined Authority, to be the face of their International Women's Day campaign because it was all about women in tech. So you can see here that they did a piece on me, which is still there. You can go and watch it if you want. It's a bit cringy. But yeah, so I was really proud of that. And then in the June, I started working with a brand called oh, that was me doing my onboarding my first client. And then this is my client, Rockstar Spirits. He's been on Dragon's Den and his products are in Selfridges, Phoenix, Booths, like all major places. And basically, I did some AI training with him. And off the back of that, what we did, because the way that I teach is everything's in like real time, like I do it tailored to that specific business or person so that it's really interesting for them. So what we did was in AI, created this new cocktail with his rum. So I took details off his website, details about his rum and the branding and that kind of thing. And then we came up with a new cocktail, and that cocktail actually then got put into some bars in Manchester. So that was pretty cool. But at the time I was doing this with him, it was when AI images were just coming out. So this wasn't even created in DALL-E because that wasn't available in ChatGPT at the time. This was created in a piece of software called Crayon. So it's quite basic, but what Tom was saying was that, you know, for his social media account, if he was doing something on the fly, he would use that, you know, rather than having to pay thousands of pounds to have a professional brand shoot or something. So for him, that he saw the potential of not only the fact can it come up with a new concept, but save him time, that, you know, it could save him money as well. Off the back of that, I started looking after his Shopify store, set up all the email automation and sequences on that for the customer journey, did all his social media for him, that kind of thing. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And then this year, he was the sponsor of the Nordoff Robbins Music Awards. And that's a really bad graphic that I did. I didn't like that one, but he loved it. So that was featured in the brochure. So I was proud of that as well. And then what else? So yeah, so he created his unique recipe. And then in the November, I went down with a client to London who works with, if have you heard of Flight Club and Electric Shuffle? Yeah, so I went down with them and I was talking to the owner and well no, somebody introduced me and said, oh, she does AI. So one of the owners came up to me and he said, oh right, I'm really interested in that. Can you tell me about it? So I'm going, well, like this. I teach AI to Greater Manchester businesses and all this kind of thing. And he goes, great. He said, can you connect with me on LinkedIn? I want you to come down and teach the Flight Club Electric Shuffle team. The whole team, there's like 35 of them, about AI. So I go to connect with him on LinkedIn. He's the technical director. He went to Cambridge and he literally writes algorithms for fun. So I like had total imposter syndrome and I was like, oh my God. I was asking the question again, why do you want me to come and teach this? And basically what he said was that he talks in algorithms, he talks in maths, and his staff don't understand the way that what he's saying to them. So he wanted me to go and speak in plain English, layman's terms about AI and its uses and how it can be applied. So yes, that was pretty cool. Also during that time, I got featured in the Times newspaper on the BBC, and also the biggest claim to fame, a double page spread in Woman's Own. Um, and then my mum in the December became really, really ill. She was in hospital for 5 months, and I literally lived at the hospital. I was trying to support my dad. Her and yeah, that was a really, really bad time. So what that meant for me was if I had been working as an employee for somebody, I couldn't have been there to support my family. The beauty about me having my own business was that I can do my work around everything else. So, I'd take my laptop, sit at a bedside at the hospital and I could do my work then. So that has been amazing for me. In February, got invited by a client to the premiere of Nickelback's Netflix, I can't say it, Nickelback's Netflix documentary release. So that was cool and got to spend some time with the band backstage in a private members club and met them. And then in March and April this year, I got really, really overwhelmed because, as you can see, I showed you before from my website, I have a lot of services. So it can sort of get a little bit overwhelming. And I knew that I needed to kind of streamline things. So I accessed some help that was available to me because I live in Greater Manchester. So I got a business coach through GC Business Growth Hub. And he was amazing. And he basically, we decided that at the time I was going to get rid of my Reiki business because it was just too much, all of it, and that I was going to focus on the AI. And then he also got me a financial coach through the same system. And all this is like free, which is like amazing. Like, if you can tap into these services, because it's like insane that it's available. And I didn't know that this was all available. And he taught me that because I've set my business up as a limited company, I can pay the same amount into a private pension each month that I pay myself a wage, but you put it down as an expense as well. So that's like a really good way to manage your money. And they also offer with that 6 free counselling sessions as well, which was really, really supportive for me at the time with my mum being ill. So then in March, she came out of hospital and I became her full-time carer. So that's kind of evolved with my business as well. And then just recently in June, the guy that I spoke to, who I did the very, very first training for, contacted me and he said, he said, "Oh, I just thought I'd update you, but my business that I used to do, where we used to build software apps out for people," he said, we're getting rid of that now, and I'm focusing solely on AI, and I've become a Microsoft AI partner." So I was like, "Oh my God, what?" Off the back of a conversation with me, little old me. But basically, he's asked me to partner with him, and we've just we should have known by now already, but they keep putting it back. But we tendered for a huge piece of work with Greater Manchester Combined Authority to deliver all their AI and cybersecurity workshop programs. So I thought we would have heard today, but it might be tomorrow now. So keeping everything crossed for that. So that is massive. And then another thing I did, because I think that one of the things when we were doing the course was people like, how are we going to find work? That kind of thing. Again, Facebook's been amazing for me. So there's a local group called Wilmslow Mums that I'm a member of. So I'd written my backstory, which if you want to go and have a look at it, it's on my about section on my LinkedIn page. And I literally posted that in the group. And it wasn't really salesy, it was just about how it had evolved over the time. And I got 10 leads off that. And when I say hot, I mean hot. Like I went on to do AI training for them. So I think I've here, this is one of the ones I did. And then that's me doing my training with a little presentation. Uh, and then so the way that I do my training now is I do the introduction overview, and it's literally for absolute beginners. So there's no tech, there's no jargon or anything like that. So I'm not going to be talking about large language models and JSON and Python and things like that. It's literally like really, really easy to understand. But again, like I said, I show real-time examples of how it can be used. So whether it's you want to prepare your accounts, like or you want to create a recipe or a social media plan or something like that, I teach all those kind of things. And then the next module is prompt engineering. And the reason why I've done it like that is because there's just so much information that it can become a bit overwhelming. So I've turned it into modules. So second one is prompt engineering, and also how to get ChatGPT to sound like you rather than a robot. The third one is how to build your own bespoke GPTs. Fourth one is how to use it for social media. And then we go into other ones that are more relevant to other businesses. I teach you how to use AI to write bids and tendering, because obviously I've just gone through that whole process. It's quite difficult to do. And then yeah, so like all different things. And the reason why I've done it in modules is because the people that I work with, small businesses and entrepreneurs and medium businesses as well, not everybody is going to want each different module, so they can pick and choose what they want to do. So yeah, and then so this is pretty cool. So off the back of this one post, one lady contacted me and she said, I don't want training. She said, what I want you to do is to build a workflow, an automation for my business that is going to save me basically 20 hours time, 20 hours of her time. She's a solicitor. So the one that I did for her was, she doesn't want to read all these case summaries because it takes so long. Some of them are like 141 pages or whatever. So I created an automation for her that will basically summarize all the documents and then cascade that information out to her team in a short summary so that she doesn't have to spend all that time reading. So I thought I would show you a little bit about what I'm doing now. So this is the kind of thing I'm doing now. it's obviously a little bit more advanced than beginners. So I don't teach this in my introduction classes and things. I don't teach it in any of them actually. This is more the back end work that I'm doing. So basically it will pull the whatever the document is, the news or whatever, or the summary judgment in her case, down through an RSS feed. It then goes into Airtable. Have you learned about Airtable? No. It's a little bit like Google Drive, but for me, it's formatted in a better way. It's all AI software. I then use coding, which I learned on Basecamp Skills, to turn it into code and then use the text parser to turn it into something more readable. From then, it then goes through these different processes which have coding and prompts behind them that will turn it into a LinkedIn post, I know, a blog, a LinkedIn post, a video script, an Instagram post, Facebook, Twitter, that kind of thing. And then it will either be stored in another Airtable or it will cascade out to either the team or her or the sorry, her as well. It also creates the images as well. So that's pretty cool. I mean, if you can think about how much time that's going to save people, especially social media managers. So that's the kind of thing I'm creating, but for different businesses. So the other thing I would say about that is that they pay me probably what I was earning in a month to create one of these. So it's like, it's literally transformed my life, transformed my business, and all because I came on Basecamp Skills and upskilled. So I also have a team of freelancers now that help me as well, because you can't do everything. So my freelancers help me do all sorts of stuff. And then the other thing that I would say that I do is I still learn for an hour a day at least. I do formal learning, whether it's learning how to do automations, coding, that kind of thing. I also went on to do learn how to teach with ChatGPT through Vanderbilt University. I went really deep into creating your own AI assistants and agents. So the agents are done in OpenAI's playground rather than in ChatGPT. And I got deep into prompt engineering as well. And then the other thing that I do, because I'm, all in on the AI, is I spend about 30 minutes to 60 minutes a day catching up on what's going on in AI, because the landscape's moving so fast. You have to keep up to date with it, otherwise you'll just get left behind. So that's another kind of service that I can offer my clients as well. Like if I think something's get a little bit outdated, we can look at, changing a solution, tweaking it, or putting a new solution in place. So I know I've just rabbited on for half an hour. Was that helpful or?
It was. Thank you, Penelope. That was amazing. That was really, really inspiring. I can't believe how much you've done
Oh, well,
since
actually,
leaving the course.
I just forgot as well. So there's two things here. Where is it? I found out last week I have been nominated for a Woman of the Year award for my
Wow.
services to AI.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thanks. And then the other thing that I have done as well is um so oh God, you're gonna think this is a bit cuckoo, but this is like the Reiki master in me, like into energy and spirituality and stuff. So I was asleep the other night and I had a dream, and this dream was really, really vivid, and it told me that I should rebrand. And so you're the first people to see this, but I am
Ooh,
rebranding
how
um,
exciting.
to the fairy godmother AI.
I love it.
Because
Amazing.
the whole thing about what I do is like I went on loads of AI courses, and not your one, but I mean after this, to sort of
Yeah,
see what people were offering. And it was so dull and it was so boring. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want it to be fun. I want it to be engaging. I want people to
yeah.
enjoy what they're doing and like really get into it. So yeah, so That's my new branding. I'm going to be a
Oh,
fairy.
I love that. I love it. That's amazing. Oh, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Do you mind if I open the floor up to any questions? If any of the learners have got any questions?
Yeah, of course.
Is that okay?
Yeah, fine.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Oh, we've got a question coming already. Daniel.
Hey, yeah, that was really, really inspiring. And I was just wondering, how do you get AI to sound like yourself? In a
So,
summarized, in a short summarized version.
so what I would do is if you are just going into the normal AI chat box and you're just working in there, have about 3 or 4 maybe pieces of content that you've written yourself. It doesn't really matter what the topic is, it's just so that it sounds like you. So for example, like I don't speak or write formally at all. As you can tell, I'm a bit like just a I don't know, it just all flows forth. And I think I'm quite, I don't know, I want to sound more approachable, friendly, engaging, hopefully inspirational. So thank you for that. So I would just write a stream of consciousness that sounds like me, and then I would upload those into ChatGPT and give it the prompt, only write like me, so in my style, my tone, my language, and that should work for you. Sometimes you need to sort of coax it along a bit, but it really does work. And then if you're working with GPTs, you can actually upload those documents into the configure tab so that you don't have to keep re-uploading them. It'll just sound like you all the time. But that also works if you're working for clients as well. Put their content up there so it sounds like them.
Amazing. Cool. Thank you.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you for that. I don't know if I've got these in the correct order, but I'm going to go with Dawn.
Yeah, I noticed that you'd got a Vanderbilt University on I think as part of your LinkedIn profile, courses that you'd actually achieved. Is that an online?
Yeah, I did that online. Yeah.
But absolutely brilliant. Actually loved your presentation. It was really
Oh,
inspirational.
thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. And then we've got Hanil.
Hi,
Go next.
presentation. That was amazing. So I noticed when you were doing the automation, and you had creating video scripts. So I just wanted to get your thoughts about Sora and maybe adding that to. Will you be doing that, or how do you feel about that?
I haven't got my hands on Sora yet, but the reason why the way that I pull it through for video scripts for me is so that I can then go create a YouTube video or something like that. So you could also do it the other way. You could record like this or a YouTube video with all your content, and then you could put that at the beginning of your automation and then get it to break it up into shorter form content and then turn it into text or that kind of thing. But yeah, depending on what the workflow is, that was just one example that I showed you, but they're all different. But yeah, I'd love to get my hands on Sora.
Brilliant. Who else have we got? Michael, was it? You had your hand up.
Yeah, hi Penelope. I'm actually just down the road in All the Edge from you as well.
It's where I work.
Yeah, so I'm literally just around the corner. So if you ever fancy a glass of wine in the village or anything at the end of the day, I'd love to pick your brains about a few things.
Absolutely. You said the magic word, wine.
Yeah, perfect. Corks out anytime.
Oh, brilliant.
I found it really interesting, and especially sort of the fact that you've only been doing it for actually a relatively short space of time, but what you've achieved since you've done it is incredible. And I'd like to sort of not go down quite the same route, but also I'm looking to sort of start my own business. What was the most useful piece of training that you came across in your journey that sort of just put that light bulb moment for you?
What, to start my business or to help me along?
Yeah, to help you along. So obviously, because when you started along the lines of you did your coding and you knew a bit about AI, but some things obviously sort of pushed you much further towards that AI. What sort of has been your biggest, where have you found the best learning, or where have you?
Just literally playing inside ChatGPT and trying out different software as well. So what I would say is, obviously when I started and it was all very, very new and we didn't have the pro versions and things, if you are going to explore them, I would suggest getting the pro versions because you do get so much more out of them. But I use Claude sometimes to rewrite stuff, but I don't really like it that much. The other thing that Claude won't do as well is, so obviously I work for all these retail parts around the Northwest. A lot of the content that I have to do is repurpose brands' content. So let's say it's River Island or something like that. ChatGPT will let me do that. Claude won't. It just says it's an infringement of, whatever. So
Right.
I do find that there's limitations with Claude. And then I also use like what is it, Copilot, Bing, that one as well. And then recently just started using the Google one only because it came with the new domain that I'd bought. But I do, out of all of them, keep going back to ChatGPT. Like there's some brilliant software out there, like copy.ai is amazing as well. But it can get a little bit expensive as well when you add them all up and you're buying the pro versions. So to answer your question in a very long, convoluted way, I just started playing.
Yeah.
And I started seeing what it could do for me. And it still blows my mind today what it can do because like yeah, it's just insane. And a lot of people are kind of scared of it. They think it's going to take away their creativity. So I did one of my introductory trainings and there was a lady there who was a photographer and she was like so against it. And after the talk, she said, "Oh, well, she didn't tell me. She messaged me about an hour later and she said, I went away and I've played around with it." And she went, "Oh my God." She's like, "It's insane." And so I kind of, that kind of thing like really keeps me going and spurring me on. With my ADHD, I do get very bored. So for something to keep my interest as long as this has is like, it is pretty cool. And I can only see that it's going to go further and further, but I think that's because it's evolving all the time. It's innovative, it changes every day. There's always something new to try or play with. And yeah, so I think that's why I just find it exciting. I'm curious. And it still blows my mind that people actually listen to me about it.
Fabulous. It's great. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Berrywan, I think you were next.
Hey, oh my God, thank you so much. That was so inspirational because I've been mulling over whether to take up a job and learn the skills and get that practice. But that's not really my style. So I think this was like the thing that I needed to push me over the edge to just spend time learning some of the things that I've been interested in. So thank you. I have a question actually about like how you word stuff in contracts about the proprietary software that you're building. Because recently I started working with a digital creator and we're still, even though we've started working, we're still kind of finalizing the contract, and she's put a confidentiality clause about know-how. So like anything proprietary that I might learn about her methods. And that goes along with a 30,000 euro fine if anything is like broken along the way. And also it's in like Russian territory, which I know nothing about. But but thinking from my perspective about my know-how and the technologies that I know and familiar with, having worked in the startup space and things that I can build for her. Yeah, I'm just kind of curious about how you navigate that through some of your own agreements that you put forward.
So I have a really big contract. It's massive to cover all those things. So I think that what she's saying with the work that you're creating for her, that will be bespoke to her, but she can't stop you from like the workflow. That is your workflow. So you can't share her data and details, but you can actually do your own workflow. If that does that make sense, not using her information and her data. I have a contract with the client. It details out all sorts of things. So my privacy policy, my AI policy, GDPR, non-compete, like you said, confidentiality, that kind of thing. I also have a contract for my freelancer as well. So yeah, I do have all of that set up in place. And then you also have to think about as well, like if you're handing, so I don't hand my workflows off to somebody. I then maintain them every month as well. So you also have income from that. But if you are just selling a workflow, you need to train them with that as well. So there needs to be a training document that comes with it, all those kind of things. But I have pretty much written those myself with the help of AI.
Okay.
But there
Good.
are a lot of bases that you do need to cover.
Okay,
And
cool.
so like with one of my developers, he's based in India. So again, I took that into consideration, the different laws between the Indian laws and the UK and that kind of thing. But normally it's with you because I'm the contractor. It would be UK law based. But yeah, I wanted to protect all of that. I don't want him going off and doing his own thing, but I don't want him literally copying my client's workflow. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, you do need to put all that in place. It's really, really important to cover your own back. But what I would say, going back to the first bit that you were saying, one of the things that I do very, very strongly believe in is work out what your core values are. So like for me, it's integrity, it's freedom, it's fun, innovation. And that really helps me when I'm doing my work. Because that's like my GPS. If something comes along that doesn't fit in with any of that, I just say no, and it will always guide you down the right path, and you'll always enjoy the work that you do as well. But yeah, do protect yourself legally. Even if you have to do something like there's what have I used before? There's online, it's called Rocket Lawyer, and you can get there's actually legal contracts that you can download for that. I don't think it's expensive. It's like $4.95 or something like that. Or you can put all your details in and they will churn out a contract for you. And that is done by lawyers. So you know that you're confident in what you're writing.
Oh, okay, that's really good to know. Thank you. Because she's also never written a contract before, so she's not very fluent in ChatGPT, so she's like copies and pasted a whole bunch of stuff. Because otherwise the values do really match, so I want to make it work. But that's really good to know. Thank you. I'm glad we're having this conversation.
No worries.
Brilliant. We've got a couple more people with their hands up, if that's okay, Penelope.
Sure.
Yeah. Sarah, I think you're next.
Hiya, thank you so much. That was really, really interesting. I think I might have answered my own question, but I know you mentioned Vanderbilt University, so I'm really interested in the prompt engineering, and it looks like they do a free course there. I'm assuming you do corporate courses. So I wondered if you could like recommend a place where someone could dive into this, a bit better, in more depth.
So I did mine. It's a paid version. So there are free ones which are really, really good, but the paid ones go into more depth. And I actually did that through Coursera. I hope it's all right me saying this. I'm like not an affiliate or plugging anything like that.
No,
yeah,
it's fine.
I did do ongoing training through Coursera. I found were really, really good.
Okay, I just come up with something on Coursera that says it's Vanderbilt University for prompt engineering for ChatGPT. There's also like the option to do either prompt engineering or automation. So I'm not sure of the
I've done all of them.
All of them.
Yeah, I started working my way through them.
All right, brilliant. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you really quickly, from that I learned that what you can do is you can get a piece of raw data. So let's say you've got an Excel spreadsheet with a load of financial data in it or whatever, and then you upload it into ChatGPT, and then you say, can you pull out the most relevant data? So it pulls it out for you, and then you go, can you turn it into a bar chart? Turns it into a bar chart. You then say, oh, my brand colors are this. So it turns it into your brand colors. And then you go, I need to present it to blah, 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 blah. Can you turn it into a 10-page presentation? It turns it into a 10-page presentation like that.
Oh, wow.
And you're like, oh my God.
That is so good. Thank you so much. I'm gonna really go down a rabbit hole on this one.
It's so fun.
Thank you.
No worries.
Brilliant. And Joanne, you've got your hand up.
Oh, that was really inspiring. Brilliant. I've got two questions, if you don't mind. My first one is, would you consider yourself a bit techie before you did Basecamp and launched on this whole AI journey? You said you're in marketing, but I was just wondering whether you see yourself as techie at all. And then my other question was actually about your ADHD. Do you mind me asking, was that something that you discovered later on in life? And how have you found that has that been a journey to understand yourself through that? Or has that been something that you've known for ages? And
Okay, so brilliant questions. I love them both. What was the first one? Oh, the techie thing, right? No, I am the most non-techie person. And what I would say is I'm actually quite mindful now, because I'm exploring it and going further. I need to be really mindful that when I'm teaching it, I'm not started using the jargon and talking about, different coding and algorithms and stuff like that. So I am mindful of that. What happened was I used to be a project manager in marketing. So I worked for Sainsbury's, L'Oreal, Chanel, Adidas, used to work in Europe doing all their marketing installations. So I used to manage all the installers and did the project from conception to completion. And I'd never, ever been taught Excel. And when I'd got this promotion, it was with a different company. And basically, they said to me that if I went on an Excel course every year for the next 20 years, I still wouldn't be able to grasp it. And so that was my belief at that point, that I was a really non-techie person, that coding and stuff like that was not for me. So it was when I came on Basecamp Skills and I went into this week, and I just already had the mindset that this wasn't for me. I was just going to switch off. I actually think I thought I wasn't even going to attend, but I actually did. And I started playing around with what they'd I can't remember the lady's name. It was a girl. She was so lovely. Is it Jade or something? I can't remember her name, but she just, the way she taught it, and as we were doing it, we were sort of building out a website with code, and I was like, oh, actually done it, like, oh my God. So I was like, oh, that person was actually wrong. And then I thought, well, what can I do with this if I am actually capable? So I started doing a bit more again myself. I think when we were taught it on Basecamp Skills, she told us about a platform called W3 Schools or something. So I signed up to that and I just started playing around with it, did their really basic courses. And yeah, so did that. And then yeah, that's just how it evolved, really. So no, I'm not techie at all. I'm more techie than I was, but I'm definitely not a techie person. And that's where I want to be. I want to be the non-techie person that teaches AI.
makes perfect sense.
The second question. So all I can tell you is that I always knew I was different growing up. Everybody used to call me weird, or I used to get called all sorts of names. But I always felt like I was an outsider, like I didn't fit in. I was always pretty sensitive, sensitive to noises and lights as well. also quite deaf, weirdly, so I didn't often hear what people were talking about and was pretty much a loner throughout school. Mum says that I never slept from birth. She said I was just always on the go. And when I was younger, she used to have me at the doctor's every week because I was really, really skinny and I was really hyperactive. And they thought I was allergic to E additives or something that were in cordial when we were kids. So she kind of just put it down to that. And then, yeah, always been a bit of a loner, I think. And then when I was a project manager, this is one of the things that really stood out for me. So the only way I can describe the way that my life runs is that other people seem to find everything a breeze, and I find everything really clunky, is the only way that I can describe it. So like my peers would be using Excel or whatever and just do blah, 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 like this, and I just would not have a clue. And even things that processes that I do in my daily routine, I was a lot slower than they were. So my work around it when I was a project manager was I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I would work then, but I didn't know what it was at the time. No distractions. It was peaceful. I could get a whole day's work done in about 3 hours. So I had a client who she's so lovely, an aesthetics practitioner, and she wanted me to build her a website because she was moving more into the training in the aesthetics. So she wanted a membership site where they could do all the course learning and stuff. And I was sat there one day and I'm working, and she goes, "Has anybody told you you've got ADHD?" And I was like, "Nah, no, I haven't. Don't be daft." And she said, "My 2 sons are autistic and they've got really strong ADHD." And she said, "You definitely have," like that. So she said, "You need to go and get assessed." So I went and I got assessed and I scored really, really highly on it. And I now have these, which are amazing. Like literally I can focus. I don't stop talking, I rabbit all the time, but yeah, they really help me focus and get my work done. So yeah, it was later on in life. My mum doesn't believe it. She just thinks I'm lazy. So I have a bit of a battle with her because she just doesn't get it at all. But yeah, but what I would say is, once I'd had that diagnosis, it was almost like a relief. Like I kind of felt like I wasn't a freak anymore, that I kind of belonged somewhere, if that made sense. And it just, yeah, kind of made me more peaceful about the whole thing and more accepting of it. So yeah, just go with the flow now. It's my superpower.
Oh, thanks so much for sharing, Penelope. That was really good to hear. Like that side of it as well, and definitely a superpower. I know there's a few people on this call also with ADHD. There's some comments there. I think there's a question that's come up in the chat. Are there any free prompt engineering courses that you would recommend?
There are loads.
I bet.
Yeah, there's loads. Now, what I would say is, so when like 16 months ago, when I first started doing this, I was buying a load of prompt packs. And some of them are really, really helpful because they'll have wording in there that you won't have thought of. So, for example, like when you're creating AI images, I noticed that people were putting create me a picture of this, but in the style of a Sony Shure shot, whatever they were writing the camera, and in a raw style, and this, that, and the other, or hyper realistic, that kind of thing. I didn't know any of those terms at all. So what I do find interesting is to look at other people's prompts and see what kind of wording they're using in there, and then the outputs you're getting. But what I found was that with the prompt packs, was that they were just like a lead magnet to sell somebody's copywriting course or something like that. So that kind of didn't sit well with me. One of my values is integrity, and I thought it was a little bit disingenuous, that. So yeah. So be careful where you look for stuff. Now I do believe that Google's just brought out one of their own free courses actually, which is really good. So yeah, so I would have a look at that. I think IBM do them as well. Again, if you either Google them or go on Coursera. I chose that one because my brother's in F1 and he's done a lot of coding courses off there and found them really good. Again, the paid ones, but they do free ones as well. The free ones are definitely worth checking out. Or of course, you could come on my prompt course. I'll teach you.
Perfect. Oh, thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, Penelope, if you've got any details or anything you'd like us to share after the session, more than happy to. We've got our LinkedIn alumni for anyone who's kind of left the course, and we've got people on there, which we may have a few visitors today, as well as all of the people that have attended today's session. So yeah, thank you very much for coming on and sharing your journey with us. It's been amazing.
I think there's 2 more people that have got their hands up. So if you want to, if we
okay.
haven't got time, I mean, if we got time, or they can just contact me.
Oh, sorry,
directly.
no, we do have time. Sorry, forgive me, I missed those. Samantha, would you like to go next?
Thank you so much, Penelope. Really appreciated hearing your story. And I think I was just wondering, like, if there was, we were looking yesterday at different chat GPT softwares and realizing that there is so much out there and so many different ways you can engage with AI these days. And so I'm just wondering, like, if there was like a few that you recommended were ones to check out for marketing. Are there any that really stand out to you that you'd recommend to us to check out? I know that there's obviously like the standard chat, but are there any that are just like really helpful to know about?
Yeah, sure. So I think I mentioned before copy.ai. I find that really, really good. But what that does as well in there, sorry, hang on. It has its own built automations. So you can go anything you can think of. I want to do this. I want to create a blog, or I want to do something, and the workflow will already be built. So again, it's like really low tech. You don't have to know the coding behind it. It's just all done for you. I think that's about £30 a month, but I would say it's well worth it. I've used other ones before, like Jasper. Didn't really enjoy that one, so I stopped using it. For my clients, for scheduling, I use Metrical and also Flick. Flick, I was an early adopter of that when they started doing their beta test, and it was mainly for hashtags. But they've gone on to have their own, you can schedule in there now, and it has their own AI built in. I think she's called Ivy. And basically you can put all your brand details in there and stuff like that, and it will just create amazing content for you. It's dead easy. So yeah, so those really, really helpful. Yeah, I think those.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Super. And is it Ray? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah, Ray or Rachel, it's fine.
Ray or Rachel, okay.
Penelope, that was amazing. I think I've got ADHD. Haven't been officially diagnosed yet, but I wondered in terms of, because there's so much that you can kind of go into, how do you stop yourself from being like overwhelmed by it almost? Because you can go down rabbit holes, obviously. So I don't know, is the ways that you kind of manage all of the different things in your time effectively?
So I think that is, you've hit it on the head. Like when I first started looking at it, I was looking at all these different software, and like the other lady said, you know, there's so many out there now. I mean, I think there's over 1 million or something like that, that I had to stop trying everything out. I'm a bit of a magpie. I like shiny objects as well. So I did actually, it was only last month I went through and cancelled a load of subscriptions because it is overwhelming. If I can give you any piece of advice, ChatGPT is amazing. It will do pretty much anything that you want it to do. It's not as pretty as some of the other software out there, but I see it as a complete business system. So anything you need it to do, it can do. if you can learn how to use ChatGPT properly, you can then transfer those skills to any other AI software. So that is the one I keep going back to. It's the one I focus on. But I have built GPTs that I use for different things. Like even yesterday, my accountant said, "Oh, I need all your accounts," and I put the CSV files into ChatGPT, and I said, "Please, can you prepare my accounts for me?" And it gave me a profit and loss, a balance sheet, this, that, and the other. And I sent it across to the accountant, and she said, "Oh my God, you've done it." And I don't know anything about that whatsoever. So yeah, you could go and pay for a software thing that does that, but it does it in ChatGPT. So yeah, try not to have shiny object syndrome. Think about what your goals are. What do you need to use it for? What is going to make your life easier? That's the way that I look at using AI. So more productive and an easier life, and ultimately a happier you. So those are my benchmarks for looking at, what I use. I mean, ManyChat I use, I do use ManyChat. Make, Airtable, they're pretty much my go-to ones for my automations, and they're not that expensive actually. I think Make's like £9 a month or something. So yeah, so I pretty much have focused in now on the ones that are functional for me.
Amazing, thank you.
No worries.
Brilliant. And we've just Cal's got his hand up.
Hi, Penelope. Thank you very much. That was excellent. Also on the ADHD front, very, very useful. Thank you. I just wanted to ask, you've done a lot of different things in actually quite a short time. How did you know at these different stops what to charge for your different services?
Oh, wow. Amazing question. So I did, I was invited back to do a talk of Basecamp skills. I think it was like maybe January, February last year. And I pretty much talked in that one about setting up your own business and how to do it and the easiest way to do it. And at the time, I talked about what I was charging. So for my VA services at the time, I was charging £35 an hour. There was a girl on Basecamp Skills who I really, really wanted to use as a freelancer, but I'd obviously done this whole piece about charging your worth and not underselling yourself. And when I contacted her and said, "Oh, I'd really like to work with you," she's like, yeah, that's fine. It's £35 an hour. And I was like, damn, I can't actually do that because I'm not going to make any money. So then you think, okay, I want to work with this person. I'm going to have to put my fees up. What I would say is, in the beginning, you're going to do some stuff for free to get testimonials, that kind of thing, but also to validate for yourself that you can do what you say you can do or what you're offering. So I would say maybe do 3 free and then start charging. So get the feedback and the testimonials off the first one, start charging. What you charge is up to you. I don't know what you're offering, so it will be different. So I started with £35 an hour. I started selling block packages of time, which I found I didn't like. So now I charge on a per project basis, and that's the way I do it. My training is £47 per module because I wanted it to be accessible and affordable to people. So yeah, so it's all different. It depends what you're doing, what you're selling, and where you're at in your journey, I think. Like I said, with the workflows, that particular workflow that I did, I charged £3,000 for. So it depends where you are, but also okay, so what I would say is every 3 clients, think about increasing your price by a little bit. And if you just do it a little bit at a time, it's not going to feel uncomfortable for you or out of alignment. I think that's probably the way to do it. I remember seeing an article on LinkedIn about people who change their jobs every 2 years or whatever, and they are earning so much more money than the people who stay in their jobs for life. So I think, if you're going as a freelancer or you start your own business, work on the same basis. You don't want to be charging the same price 10 years ahead than you were when you started. That's not going to work, is it? That's not good financial business sense. So yeah, but do it at your own pace. Do what's comfortable for you. but also push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit as well. I think that's something else that I've found, that when you go up to that next level, you start working at a next level energetically as well.
Thank you. It was great advice. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Brilliant. We do have one more question. I don't know if have you got time, Penelope?
Yeah,
Sorry, I
sure.
know we've
Hold
run
on.
slightly over. Jen, would you like to go?
Hi, Penelope. Very inspired as a fellow solo parent. I've just got a job last week it's my daughter's school, but it's a marketing and comms role. And yesterday when we kind of delved into the AI, I mean, I did two of the tasks in half the time, but the first time, like, I was like astounded how much work can be done through AI. There was just a taste of it. And I'm slightly worried if I go into this role, like, I'm someone that will maybe, you think, oh, this will take me an afternoon, but actually with AI, it can take third, whatever of the time. What's your sort of boundary? I feel like they're going to get like 3 times as much work out of me if I'm going down this AI route. In that I would just like sort of burn out. And what's the boundary between, normally a person would take 1 hour to do this, but with AI is 10 minutes. Like, would you tell work, I don't know, it took you 20 minutes and have a tea? I can feel like the treadmill is just getting faster, and just how I would pace myself, and I'd be excited to get in like ahead of myself. And yeah, just if you have any thoughts on that.
So I would use the AI for inspiration. Don't use it as the final output. And so, yes, it's going to cut your time down, but you should still be sort of rewriting it in your own words, that kind of thing, or, making it relevant to the project that you're working on. Yeah, so in my business, I don't know how it would work for you because you're employed, but in my business, I still charge the same as what I would if I was not using AI. So that's just the way the business has developed, because the technology
as well.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So it's up to you whether you tell them or not.
Mm.
I guess you could look busy.
Yeah. 5 days in the office would be difficult, I think, for me. But yeah, it's been really good to hear from you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Penny. That was great. There's a couple of people asking about your course. So if you wouldn't mind sharing the details with me, and I can share with the learners afterwards, if that's okay.
Yeah, well, I wasn't here to sell it, so I'm happy to, because I got so much out of being on Basecamp Skills, if anybody wants any support or anything, just contact me, and I'm not going to charge you for it. So,
oh, that's very kind. Thank you. That's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time today. It's been great. Yeah, we've had loads of questions. It's been brilliant, really engaging session. Thank you so much.
It's so lovely to be here. I was just really gutted I didn't get invited in. I thought I was going to come and meet everybody face to face.
Oh yeah, we're virtual. We're all online now.
How are you? There's no classroom.
Yeah. No, because our learners are all over the UK. Yeah, all of our sessions are online now.
Oh, yeah, I used to really enjoy it going. It used to make me feel like, it sounds silly because I'm 48, but growing up, getting the train into town and going and seeing everybody. But what I loved about the course was that there was so many different people on there. It was all ages, and nobody I just felt like we were all kind of part of one kind of thing. Nobody looked at me and thought, oh, she's old, or anything like that. And it was just really empowering, and I made some great friends on there as well that I'm still in touch with. So yeah, it was brilliant.
Oh, I love that. Brilliant. Well,
I'd love to know what everybody goes on to do as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think if you're not already on our LinkedIn alumni group, that's got everyone who's graduated from Basecamp. So yeah, people are sharing updates on there, and once everyone's graduated, they then get added onto the group. So if you're not already on there, we'll make sure you are on there and keep up to speed with what everyone's up to. But you're welcome into our office anytime. We are in the office from time to time, so you're welcome to pay us a visit. It'd be lovely to meet you face to face.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh no, you're more than welcome. More than welcome. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks, take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care, Penelope. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, that was so good.